Alabama, you may have some old vacation Polaroids of that big gray ship just off the Mobile Causeway filling up shoeboxes. The USS Alabama battleship has been a top tourist destination for the state for most of our lifetimes, but there's a lot more to that old girl than just a nice photo backdrop.
Check out these big guns!
For more than half a century, the cannons bristling the decks of Alabama's most famous boat have sat dormant. Once, the battleship symbolized the naval might that powered America to victory in the Pacific during the Second World War. Today, although her fighting days are long gone, the USS Alabama remains on a mission.
The Alabama represents the defense of the nation, the spirit of the people from Alabama. Our mission statement was given to us by the Alabama legislature, and that is to honor the veterans of all services, everybody that wore the uniform in any of the branches in any conflict. And secondly, our mission is stated to educate the public on the sacrifice of those men and women.
Commissioned in 1942, the USS Alabama was one of 4 state-of-the-art South Dakota-class battleships. This 680-foot, 45,000-ton mountain of guns and armor was capable of firing shells weighing as much as a car at targets more than 20 miles away.
Her first duty was actually in the North Atlantic, and she's the only American warship, the only American ship, period, ever honored by the Soviet Union for protecting their fleet in the early days of the war.
After earning 9 battle stars in action during the Pacific Campaign, the USS Alabama was decommissioned in 1947 after only 5 years of service. The ship was sent to Bremerton, Washington, where she remained until 1964.
When the Navy decided that they were going to scrap all of the South Dakota-class battleships, Alabama was one of the lucky ones. The people of Alabama recognized her historic importance and decided to do something to save her. There was an effort launched by the governor of the state of Alabama, and it was very much funded by school children in the state who saved their lunch money, saved their dimes, and donated to have the Alabama brought home.
With the help of a number of volunteers, the staff of Battleship Memorial Park have carefully created a window back in time. Visitors really get a feel for what it was like for the nearly 3,000-man crew who once filled the ship's decks and narrow passageways. But folks, I speak from experience. Bring your walking shoes.
It's divided into 3 separate tours for convenience. So if people have an entire day to spend with us, they can view the entire ship from top to bottom. However, if they're traveling through and they only have an hour or so, they can pick and choose what they'd like to see.
And if you see some characters tinkering around dressed up like these guys, you might be in for a treat. Periodically, a volunteer group of living history reenactors from across the country put on a show, including a simulated firing of the Alabama's deck guns. There's no way I wasn't getting in on that action.
How's that for realism?
Battleship Memorial Park has much more to see than its namesake attraction. The 155-acre grounds are covered with weaponry, tanks, and aircraft spanning America's military history. Memorials paying tribute to our brave servicemen and women, including those lost in combat, can be found all along the scenic park drives. And if you're still in the mood for a ship tour, the nearby USS Drum offers a rare look into a World War II submarine.
When our visitors come in, I hope that they leave with a sense of reverence and appreciation for the men and women who have served in the military. I hope they leave with an appreciation for the freedom that sacrifice has gained them, and I think they do, but mostly I want it to be a great experience for any visitor. We have a lot of repeat visitors that come back and say, we just had such a good time at the park, and we want to come back.
You know, Mary, I remember a lot about that ship, about how big it was, how narrow the corridors were to get from place to place. But the main thing I remember is how hot it was.
Gosh. Well, I'm sure that gives you a new appreciation for the men and women who sign up to live on one of those things for months on end, no matter the weather.
And their families that get left behind.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, when we come back,